Welcome back to the Rocky Post, your definitive source where automotive meets geopolitical in this era of economic upheaval. Today's episode comes to you against the backdrop of April 2025's seismic trade disruptions, where what began as routine tensions between superpowers escalated into a comprehensive breakdown of global commerce. We're not just talking about political posturing here. We're witnessing tangible impacts from dockyards to dealerships that could reshape your access to goods and vehicles for years to come. 1. Port gridlock. When global commerce hits a brick wall, the crisis ignited when the U.S. administration implemented unprecedented 145% duties on $300 billion worth of Chinese imports, a move so aggressive it immediately choked the arteries of international trade. Beijing's countermeasures weren't delivered through press conferences, but through concrete actions that within a mere 72-hour window saw American-bound Chinese exports nearly halved, plummeting by 47%. The visual evidence was unmistakable. From Shanghai's sprawling port complex to California's Long Beach terminals, the scenes eerily mirrored the darkest days of pandemic-era disruptions. Marine traffic maps showed 27 massive container vessels stuck in holding patterns off Southern California, their precious cargo delayed by up to 4 full days of processing time. The financial implications were even more startling. Where a standard 40-foot container previously cost $1,950 to ship from China to America's West Coast, that figure ballooned to $6,820 in under 2 weeks. This 250% cost explosion wasn't just theoretical. It forced Chinese manufacturers to abandon contracts mid-fulfillment, with logistics firms like Sinotrans publicly declaring pricing models completely unreliable. The domino effect spread rapidly through Guangdong Province's industrial heartland, where over 1,200 Dongguan factories suddenly found themselves idle. Maritime giants COSCO and ZTO made the unprecedented decision to suspend westbound freight operations entirely, citing the impossibility of navigating Washington's unpredictable tariff enforcement. Back in American retail boardrooms, emergency measures took effect immediately. Amazon implemented purchase freezes, Home Depot rerouted existing inventory, and Tractor Supply Company began canceling orders already in transit. This wasn't merely a temporary slowdown. It represented the complete seizure of a system that normally moves $1.7 billion in goods daily between the world's two largest economies. 2. Boeing's nosedive. How China targeted American industrial prestige. While the world focused on maritime disruptions, Beijing executed a masterclass in economic statecraft with surgical precision. Through unpublicized directives to its state-affiliated airlines, China's Commerce Ministry effectively grounded all pending Boeing deliveries. No public announcements, no technical justifications, just sudden and total paralysis of a $28.4 billion order book. The financial markets reacted with brutal efficiency, erasing that staggering sum from Boeing's valuation before analysts could finish their morning briefings. Industry experts like CSIS's Scott Kennedy recognized the maneuver for what it was: not a legitimate safety concern, but a calculated demonstration of China's capacity to inflict pain on America's industrial crown jewels. The timing was particularly humiliating, as European rival Airbus watched its shares surge 11% in the immediate aftermath, with Chinese carriers conspicuously shifting their allegiance. The underlying message to Washington policymakers couldn't have been clearer. Continue escalating trade hostilities, and we possess the means to systematically dismantle your most prized manufacturing sectors. 3. Automotive. Aftershocks. When $12 components paralyze $50,000 vehicles, the ripple effects reached American factory floors with terrifying speed. Ford's premier Michigan facility, home to the groundbreaking F-150 Lightning, fell silent when essential microcontroller shipments from Shenzhen failed to materialize. General Motors saw output at their Tennessee battery operations collapse by 60%, while Stellantis began warning investors about impending electric vehicle delays tied to inverter shortages. By mid-April's reckoning, U.S. assembly lines had failed to produce 41,000 vehicles that should have been rolling off production lines, a $1.6 billion hole in anticipated sales. The secondary market went into overdrive, with used vehicle wholesale prices spiking 4.1% in a single week, reminiscent of the worst days of 2021's semiconductor crisis. Dealerships nationwide implemented aggressive inventory reductions of up to 30%, anticipating further disruptions. The price adjustments came swiftly and painfully. Ford added $1,200 to Mustang Mach-E MSRPs overnight, while Stellantis implemented across-the-board 6.8% increases for their plug-in hybrid lineup. These weren't demand-driven market adjustments, but structural cost impositions, revealing the terrifying fragility of modern manufacturing, where a single missing $12 component can idle thousands of workers and disrupt billions in commerce. 4. The nearshoring mirage. Why escaping China isn't so simple. The theoretical solution of supply chain diversification collided with harsh realities as the crisis deepened. Vietnam's port infrastructure buckled under 94% capacity utilization, creating week-long shipment delays. India's transportation networks proved woefully inadequate for rapid scaling. Even Mexico's much-touted nearshoring advantages evaporated at border crossings like Laredo, where 12-hour truck queues became routine. Corporate relocation efforts revealed unexpected pitfalls. Tesla's rushed battery module production shift to Mexico created such logistical chaos they needed emergency warehouse capacity in Arizona. Apple's celebrated Indian expansion encountered quality control issues, with defect rates running 14% higher than established Chinese operations. Then came Beijing's April 12th declaration restricting exports of dysprosium and terbium, rare earth metals absolutely critical for EV motors and advanced defense systems. The brutal truth emerged. 78% of America's rare earth supplies still originate in China, with alternative sources in Canada and Australia, years away from meaningful production capacity. Defense contractors Lockheed Martin and Raytheon immediately began lobbying for accelerated mining permits, while Ford issued warnings about impending electric vehicle production constraints. The uncomfortable reality became clear. There are no quick fixes when decoupling from the world's manufacturing superpower. 5. Geneva's empty promise. Why the truce solves nothing. The May 11th announcement of reciprocal tariff reductions, Washington dropping from 145% to 30%, Beijing from 125% to 10%, sparked immediate market euphoria. The S&P 500 jumped 2.8%, shipping indices rallied sharply, and Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent hailed it as a ceasefire in economic mutual destruction. Former President Trump framed it as a complete reset, but the operational reality tells a different story. Major retailers conspicuously avoided restarting normal ordering patterns. Amazon maintained its inventory freeze. Five Below left $67 million in shipments canceled, and promotional plans for Prime Day and 4th of July were scaled back rather than expanded. The shipping data revealed even more telling metrics. Canceled voyages, known as blank sailings, actually tripled following the agreement. The fundamental breakdown goes deeper than tariff percentages. As one anonymous freight executive bluntly stated, "We can reopen shipping lanes tomorrow, but the psychological damage to just-in-time supply chains is permanent." The crisis exposed vulnerabilities that no temporary tariff reduction can repair, from forced inventory hoarding to rewritten contract terms to complete loss of faith in delivery reliability. The Geneva Agreement represents not a solution but merely an intermission. The irreversible shift. What we're witnessing transcends typical trade disputes. It's a fundamental recalibration of global economic architecture, Boeing's humiliation as a political pawn, Ford's paralyzed production lines, the EV revolution's stunted growth. These aren't isolated incidents, but symptoms of deeper systemic failure. That temporary Geneva truce provides breathing room, but no meaningful resolution. Automakers remain in defensive postures, retailers operate in permanent contingency mode, and supply chain managers now plan for instability as the default condition. The critical question isn't whether tensions will resurface, but which industries will bear the brunt of the next escalation. We want to hear your perspective in the comments. Is this the new normal for global trade? How should businesses and consumers adapt? Make sure to subscribe and enable notifications, because at the Rocky Post, We're committed to helping you navigate this new era where automotive, economic, and geopolitical forces collide like never before. Thanks for watching.